Hi everybody, welcome to Iona Khong Driving, and today we're going to take a look at this 11-year-old Volkswagen Golf 1.4 TSi. Yeah, this car was bought from Volkswagen Malaysia as a demo car way back at the end of 2010. So now this is 2021, so therefore this car is now 11 years old and it has done 97,000 kilometers. Okay, let's take a closer look at this 1.4 Golf TSi. Now, if you happen to have the same car, you will have noticed there are some slight differences. Yes, there are, because on a whim many years ago, there was somebody who did some work to his Golf GTI and he changed it to some aftermarket bumpers and grille. So what we did was we bought the entire set used from him and we fitted it onto this car. At that time it cost about 5,000 ringgit, but I think it's worth it. So we have a 1.4 TSi with the GTI bumpers and the GTI grille, and the eye has fallen off, so technically it's a 1.4 GT. Well, we also took the wheels and the exhaust system and the rear bumper, and so therefore we have a kind of a hybrid body, and not many people notice the difference, but GTI grille looks a lot better. Okay, let's take a closer look at the 11-year-old car and let's see how it is for wear and tear. The bumper and the grille are about the same age because we took it off another Golf Mk6 about the same age, but down there where the bottom lip is, you can see there are actually scuff marks and also stone chips. Yes, these bumpers have been painted because they came in a different color. Okay, looking closer, you see that the headlight looks a bit faded. Yeah, so let's go even closer. Actually, about 8 or 9 years ago, I wanted to protect the headlight, so this is actually a plastic cover, quite thick, maybe about 2 mm, and it's what you call a headlight protector. But what has happened, we now know you shouldn't put these on for too long, because what has happened is there's some water intrusion or something inside here and it has turned brown. Elsewhere we get some battle scars, some scuff marks on the bumpers. Well, it looks like we're going to need a paint job pretty soon, but it's MCO time now and there's not much you can do. Overall, the paintwork has been touched up a bit and there are some blemishes here and there, but that's inevitable with 11 years of usage. Okay, this lamp cover here also is very faded. Okay, so down there, there's another battle scar. This one was probably a curb somewhere that we hit and we don't know who did it, but well, it's there. Okay, these rims came from the Mk6 GTI and they're 17-inch instead of 16-inch. They do make the car look a bit better, and so we have 4 pieces of these rims, and that's why the transformation to the GTI is almost complete. Okay, a little bit of specs about this car. In 2010, this engine was actually very advanced, and even today it can hold its own against all the others. It's a twin-charged 1.4 liter. Basically, it's got a supercharger and a turbocharger, and the output is 160 PS. That is why this car is so fun to drive. And on top of that, they have a 7-speed dry clutch DSG. The Golf was always known for its legendary handling, and people used to say that it's a go-kart on wheels. In fact, it remains true until today. This is the 6th generation, and we also have the 7 and 7.5, and the 8th generation is about to come anytime soon. So this car is one of the best handling cars in its category. Suspension is McPherson struts in the front and a multi-link arrangement at the rear. So basically this car has got 4-wheel independent suspension. Standard wheels are 16, but we changed them to the 17-inch from the GTI when we bought the entire body kit from the owner who went and modified his car. So I think we got a good deal. Brakes on Volkswagens are generally bigger, and one of the reasons why it's so is because of the DSG gearbox. With the DSG gearbox, there's very little engine braking, and actually the first part of the brake pedal travel is what disengages your gears when you press the brake, and so it depends a lot on the brakes to stop the car. That is why these brakes are so big, and of course they stop the car very, very well. Now incidentally, the front brakes are ventilated. Okay, after 11 years and 90,000 kilometers, the front discs are still considered okay. They look a little bit burnt from heavy usage, but it is still good because it has not worn down a lot. In fact, we have only used, this is our second set of brake pads in 90,000 kilometers, so there's still a lot left. Now at the rear is also a set of solid discs, and it is a smaller caliper, and in this case after 11 years the brakes are a little bit worn. The rear disc has gone a little bit thinner, and therefore at the next time I change brake pads I probably have to change the discs. And this is also the second set of disc pads in 11 years. Okay, looking at it from the back, the rear bumper comes from the GTI, and so does the exhaust pipe. We took it from the GTI and we joined it to the standard pipe. So you have these two pipes coming out, and the difference between the GTI bumper and the TSI bumper is that diffuser thing at the bottom. The one thing that we couldn't get was the top spoiler, so that remains the same as the TSI, and of course the rear badging remains TSI. Overall, the car looks okay, but there are a few things that need attention. So as I mentioned earlier, the front bumper has got a lot of battle scars from skirmishes with curbs and other things, and the bonnet paint is a little bit faded, especially in the center. The color is slightly different, and I've done a little bit of recovery work with polish, but I think I have to work harder. Here's the roof, and you can see the color is slightly different, but that is actually because it is the dew that is left over from last night. So that's a bit of dew, but actually the color has got some patches of white on it, kind of like weathering or by ultraviolet degradations. So we're going to try to do some paint recovery work later. Okay, let's take a look at the engine. This is a 1.4 liter twin charged unit. That means it has a supercharger and a turbocharger, and it develops all of 160 PS, which is about 155 or 156 horsepower, and that is actually quite respectable for this car that weighs in at about 1.2 tons. And also take a look at the bonnet. There is a hydraulic absorber here, and this is actually very good to have in this small little car. Not many cars have it, and when you open the bonnet you don't have to look for that little stick. Now this engine has not been washed for maybe about 4 or 5 years. The last time I washed it was maybe 5 years ago, and maybe once before then. But still, the engine looks quite nice, and there's no oil leak I can see, and it starts with one crank still. That's the battery, and we have changed. This is possibly the 3rd or 4th battery we've had over the years, and I find the local battery is good enough to run it. Now the drive is to the front wheels only, through a 7-speed DSG gearbox, and it's located at the bottom here. And there were some issues with the electronic control for the gearbox, but that was resolved many years ago. Well, I think it was done in 2013 or 2014, and since then we've not had any problem. Now, another problem I had was the insulator under the bonnet. You can see marks where the old piece was. It just kind of like fell out, and we have not replaced it. It doesn't seem to have done any harm to the car. Okay, the warranty is over for maybe about 6 years already, and I must say that my warranty experience with Volkswagen has been very good, and so I have continued to generally service my car with them. After 11 years, the alarm still works, no problems whatsoever. And here we are. Okay, here's a quick look at the interior of the car. This one came with fabric seats, so there's no leather, and the hard plastic that is inside there has survived. Okay, this part has been changed because the original part, which was actually this piece, had some rubber, soft rubber covering on it, and after a while the rubber kind of melted. So my friend Thomas did some carbon fiber layering on top of the plastic, and there you are. Beautiful, isn't it? Thanks, Thomas. This is the driver's seat, and after 11 years it's still good. The things that you look for are this part where you get frayed from the seat belt. You know, when you put on the seat belt, this part of the seat usually gets damaged, but the way it's constructed, there's a bit of plastic here, and so that kind of like helps to keep the seat from getting damaged. Okay, this steering wheel, I think they still use something very similar, and the seats are adjustable for fore and aft. Okay, 6-footer can sit inside here, no problem. And this is my driving position, and of course the steering wheel is mechanically adjustable, and this was 11 years ago, so this car had everything. Now, I think this one has got 6 airbags, 7. Oh yes, there's a knee bag, and 2 up here, 2 here, that's 4, 5, and 2 curtain bags at the back, so that's 7 airbags. Now this is 2010, yeah. Now this is 2010, so the Golf already had 7 airbags in 2010. Now that's quite impressive. Okay, inside the seats are fabric, and they're still quite good. And let's see how the engine starts. Okay, that's it. 1 kick, and it runs beautifully. So 11 years and still going strong. Aircon has never given any trouble. The steering has never given any trouble. Interior, some small thing I will show you, but mechanically the car is fine. The clutch mechatronics, it failed once and they changed it, and then when the recall came later, they called us in again and they changed it again, and I didn't spend a single cent. So in the 11 years we have spent a little bit of maintenance. Let me show you what I changed. This is the only part that has been changed. This is actually a sender unit. I have no idea what it does, but it sits on top of the fuel tank, and it's a sensor there that sends a signal. And what it sent a signal to the car system saying that send your car to the workshop. And this was just changed. The light was on for maybe a year or so. We didn't pay attention to it, but finally I got down to doing it, and this is what it was. It cost a couple of $100. That's it. Okay, here's looking at the interior of the Golf TSi. After 11 years, the interior still looks pretty nice from here. So generally, it has maintained its condition pretty well. Everything is there, but there are small issues that I want you to look at. Okay, the first of the issues is this panel here, it was also the plastic covered with a soft rubber material. What happened was, over the years the rubber material kind of like deteriorated. So what I did was I took out the cover and I put in some carbon fiber stickers. I didn't do a very good job, but at least the stickiness is gone and it's still usable. I suppose if I really want to keep this car for a longer time, I will just change this panel, which is quite easy to dismantle. Now, other than that, let me show you the other side of the armrest, where the cover has been covered with some carbon fiber layering. Other than that, it looks okay, and aircon louvers are still nice and tight. They are not spoiled. And there's a small thing here, the radio here. So it actually, the LED is not faded, it is the cover. Okay, the letters and the background are still good, but it's the cover that is got some thing on it, so maybe I can fix that. Now the meters all work fine, and red line is at 6,000 RPM, and everything works. Okay, this is the gear shift, and you have your normal P, R, and D, and then you have your plus minus if you go to the left, and then you push down. Yes, there's a sport mode. Yeah, okay. This is S mode, then you have D, and then you have manual. And okay, let's put it back into P, and when you're in manual, you have your minus and your plus buttons. So in 2010, we had a car with a 7-speed gearbox, 7 airbags, a turbocharged and supercharged engine, 160 PS, and paddle shifters. Can you imagine? That was 2010. Okay, time to check out the rear seats. Now getting in and out of the car is quite easy. Okay, so the front seat is adjusted to my driving position, and I'm sitting at the back seat. It's a 3-seater at the back, but honestly speaking, if you just sit 4 people, it's best for long distance. For short distance, you can. There's an aircon blower at the back, and you can either close it or open the vent. And this is the sitting position. I'm sitting in a semi-upright position, and this is the seat adjusted to my driving position. And of course, there is still that hole underneath for you to put your shoes, and there is a good 8 inches of space here. That's because they made the curvature of the back of the seat curve in, so that gives you a little bit more space. They did quite a good job, I must say. And the headrest is adjustable, and the seat belt anchor is adjustable. Not bad for a 2010 car, yeah? Okay, here's the boot. It has gas struts to support it, and there's a tonneau cover. And of course, the rear seats split and fold, including the center part, that allows you to carry, I never noticed that, to carry long items should you need it. And this is the boot, not used very much, as you can see. And this is the spare tire. Yeah, it looks like a Continental CCS. Oh, this is 205/60 R16. Yeah, this is a tubeless tire, and this is actually a full-sized spare that probably existed from day one, and we never changed it. Yep, that's the boot area. Pretty standard, and wow, imagine we have a 12-volt socket here, and also a tap-out hook here, and a tap-out hook over there. And here's another tap-out hook. Not bad. You can hook stuff here when you go and tap out your stuff, and there you are. So here we go. That's the boot, and the car has been pretty good to us all this while. There you have it, guys, our 11-year-old Volkswagen Golf 1.4 TSi, and now it's time to go for a drive.